I've been drinking Kool-Aid cameras like I did when I was 9. Cause I like to pretend that I haven't lost the time. In the end, the nostalgia, though it tastes fine, I can only drink a couple cause it feels like a lie. We play Halo and we'd lay low in our basement until the sun began to rise. We would go to school but not learn too much, cause it's hard to read when you've got tired eyes. They've been with me for some time, and it's nice to know that they still by my side. Friends are like stars, cause no matter how far, when it's dark outside, they will be your light. We played Halo, and we'd lay low in our basement until the sun began to rise. We would go to school, but now learn too much, cause it's hard to read when you've got tired eyes. Months go by, the time it flies, past the days that we drink Kool-Aid in the summertime. Years go by, the time it flies, past the days that we drink summertime.
On-Call Podcast, your home for sports, news, pop culture, tech, and the obscure. And of course, your host, Michael Meyer.
Well, welcome. Look at my face is frozen on here. Jeepers creepers.
Where do you get those peepers?
I got a frozen ass screen. We'll just rock this page. I'm so frustrated by this computer right now. I don't know what's going on. This is the MVZ podcast, as you can see by the new little logo here. But right now, my upstream rate is killing me. So video is garbage. And I don't know why. I don't know what happened. Everything has been great with this computer since I built it. And now it's not. It has been a day. My car broke down. I mean, that's about it. Now the computer. But like, either way, that's a lot to go shitty.
Not an ideal day, for sure.
I don't know why my juju has shifted. I don't know why everything on this computer works so great all the time until like now. I don't know. I don't know if there was a Windows update or what, but this computer is way too expensive to not be able to have like a good upstream, and it's fucking ridiculous. And what sucks is I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the cable. The computer's new. It's only a couple months old. The router's new. Everything is new. The little indicator on OBS has been green for like the whole time I've had this shit. And now my fucking phone's not working good. It has it's been frustrating. Other than that, I'm supposed to be going to Disney here. Kind of excited for it, kind of not. I haven't been there since I was 8 years old. I'm sure it's changed a bit.
It's as fun as your kid has, in my experience. When Marshall's having a blast, it's really fun to be there. But if there's ever a moment that he's not having fun, or when he's like on the few times he takes a nap while we're there, it's like, why am I here? There are adults who do Disney. I get that. There are adults who do Disney by themselves, but I'm not one of those adults. I immediately, like, as soon as he's sleeping, I'm like, what do I do now? Like, what? I don't want to be here anymore.
We have me and Nicole have a friend who's a Disney adult. She's pretty normal. I'm surprised she is such a Disney mom. But like, she drags her kids along.
Yeah, and they're like, Mom, we don't want to go to Disney. She's like, we're going. And I'm going to wear one of my 30 sets of ears. And I'm going to wear my Disney backpack. And you're going to dress up as one of the princesses.
She's got all boys. They probably dress up as like Sven.
Too bad. Snow White and Alice, Mom bought these dresses, and they need to be worn. It's 2022, anyone can wear a dress. And the kids are like, yeah, that's fine, but we just don't... You're wearing them. Disney princes, no one cares. I guess who would you dress your kid up as? Woody? Buzz? Peter Pan?
I'm kidding. What did you dress Marshall as?
Nothing. None of those. He has shirts. He has a Simba t-shirt. He has a Timon and Pumbaa shirt. Some Mickey shirts, but we don't dress him up. The first time we went, he had like a Mickey shirt that said Marshall on it. And then we had Mom and Dad Mickey shirts, like every other basic person.
Nothing wrong with being basic, dude.
Yeah, you just gotta make a shirt. But now that we're members and we go all the time, it doesn't make any sense to always wear that one shirt.
I gotta put my phone down. Now I'm gonna try to figure this out, where these issues are coming from, and I'll just lay off of it. If nothing else, I'm recording everything, so if it comes up shitty, it'll be fine. I just hate tech sometimes. I love tech, and I'm pretty fascinated with it in most aspects. That's why I built the computer and all that stuff. And it's been I couldn't sleep. For the first time that I can remember, I just could not sleep, like, at all. I was up till after 3 o'clock this morning. But, I guess my day's not as bad as Bruce Willis. He had to retire from acting because apparently he couldn't get his lines right. Not that he really had... Yippee-ki-yay.
I was gonna say, I don't think his lines were really what was making him successful, but, whatever.
But, like, it's crazy, like, his whole family was putting out the post on Instagram for, like, oh, Bruce had to make the tough decision to retire from acting today. All right. I mean, if it weren't for Netflix, he probably wouldn't be acting now. That's the only stuff I've seen him on is like Netflix.
Too soon, but do you think he's been trying to retire for years and he just couldn't get the words out?
That must be it.
Oh man.
But in like positive news, I'll say this. The Dodgers fucking hate him. Just a true super team. But they re-signed a player on Tuesday. Andrew Tolles. He played for him, but he hasn't played since 2018. He was discovered living homeless out behind a movie theater behind an airport terminal in Florida. And the Dodgers signed him to a minor league deal so he could get access to the insurance from Major League Baseball. So as shitty as a lot of things are in this world, pretty classy move. Like, it's hard to... Although really, what's it cost them?
Hundreds of thousands of dollars?
Now if you sign him to a minor league contract, it's not.
They make decent money, at least what, $30K?
That's not enough to live on by yourself.
No, but the insurance also, I mean, when you take on an employee, you pay more than just the, salary. I wonder if you could pull up his contract.
Well, let's find out. A lot of people, you know what? It's in 2016.
You're like, that's...
Oh, no, look at... Okay. Oh, it doesn't show. Oh, what he made? His deal last year was $560K. Why was he homeless living behind an airport in Florida?
Some sort of issue, huh?
It's got to be mental health. Dude's made $2 million in 5 years.
It's more than I make in 5 years.
Well, it's a lot more than I make. What else? What else happened? Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Now, if that didn't happen and blow up on Twitter, I wouldn't have known the Oscars were even going on.
Yeah, I might have saw like a line that had been like, Coda wins Best Picture, and I'd have been like, what the heck is Coda? But okay. It's usually what happens. I see who wins Best Picture or Best Actor if someone important wins it, and I'm like, all right, cool. And like I looked up the Best Picture nominees. I knew like one movie out of like the 7 that were nominated. Like I just only heard of 1 or 2 movies. Like not... I'd be very interested to see how you feel about the whole situation, because the media and social media world, everyone's blowing up over who's in the right, who's in the wrong, all that stuff. So I'd be very interested to see your take on it.
I'm on Chris Rock's side.
Yeah, that's the only side, right? He's a comedian. He said he did nothing wrong.
No.
Literally 0 wrong. It blows my mind that anyone thinks he did anything wrong. He made a joke. He makes jokes for a living. He probably didn't honestly know about her alopecia. He probably did. I don't know. Was it common knowledge? To me, I'm like, I think that she's been bald for so long. So long. I didn't know she had alopecia, but I knew that she's not had hair for like years. And also, he said G.I. Jane. That movie made like $50 million. It was like the #1 movie when it came out. It wasn't exactly like he was like, you look like, Mo from the Three Stooges. Like, he wasn't coming at her being like, hey, you know, you should play Dr. Evil in a reboot. Like, he came at her with like a real... She should be happy to play G.I. Jane. If they did a reboot and they redid the movie, she should want to do that. That'd be a good role for Jada Pinkett. What has she done recently?
Has she been bald that long?
For like years. I don't even know that much about her, but I know she's been bald for a long time. And my thing is, like, she should want that role. If I were her people, I'd be trying to get her to be G.I. Jane right now. It's all in the media because that'd be a great line for her. And I think that Will Smith should get in trouble. Like, beyond... I don't think his Oscar should be taken away because, in my mind, just because you hit someone doesn't mean that you sucked at acting. It's kind of like with the Reggie Bush thing where he, you know, they removed his Heisman because he got paid money in college. And it's like, yeah, but that didn't make him better at football. And now college players can make money legally. So are they going to go back and re-give him that now? Like, I don't know. But yeah, I think that Will Smith is 100% in the wrong because you cannot hit people. I think that's where it comes. I think he should get, at minimum, like a misdemeanor for assault. Like, it's just a small slap on the wrist. Give, you know, if he pays $10,000 or whatever, that's like nothing to him. And a misdemeanor's not going to affect his career. He's not like having to go through background checks for his jobs, you know, like. But, like, it's assault. You can't hit people. Just, we have evidence of it. I don't care if Chris Rock didn't comply. We saw it. Everyone saw it.
Everyone saw it.
It's on camera. I've seen it several times.
It's
I mean, to me, it's black and white. You cannot hit people.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot defending Will here.
And I don't care about he was laughing at first and then Jada, like, I don't care about that. You know, point blank, you can't hit people. And that's just it. Like, I'm on the same token, like Myles Garrett, when he hit Mason Rudolph with the helmet, should have gotten charged for assault. If I hit you in the head with a helmet right now, I would get in trouble. You can't do that. I think baseball players that charge the mound and throw a punch should get in trouble. And people are like, oh, it's part of baseball, it's part of hockey, all that stuff. You can't hit people even if you're at work. That's not a defense. Like, can you imagine if I punched a client of mine and was like, sorry, I'm at work. You said something I didn't like, and I'm at work, so it's fine. No. You can't hit people. There's pretty much a constant rule in life, except for when you're a celebrity or in a sporting event. For some reason, you can just punch people, and then it's fine.
I have to give a lot of credit to Chris Rock for that situation.
He handled it beautifully. Not only did he say the right thing, did he stand up there, like, carry on gracefully, he also was the bigger guy, and he never touched his face. And you know he wanted to. He never, like, reached for it. You want to rub it. That's what you want to do when you get hit, and he never did. He handled it so well.
I saw another one that was a different angle after the fact when he handed out the next award, and he looked pretty uncomfortable. So, let's see. Your bracket. What's left of your bracket? Speaking of speaking of fucked up things, and there's no perfect brackets or anything left. And what do
My
you?
bracket's ruined. My main bracket had Gonzaga over Arizona, neither of which are left. So that'll kind of do it. I don't think I had any in the Final Four. Because I had Gonzaga, not Duke. Kansas. I had which side's Kansas in?
I don't even know what Kansas was ranked. They were in the Midwest.
Arizona instead of Nova. I had Kentucky instead of North Carolina, and then I had in the Kansas Final Four. I had Auburn, so none of that worked.
I got 2 left.
Oh, and he left. Oh, you have Nova and Duke left.
Yeah.
And that's in your championship. That's a great bracket. I mean, if Duke and Nova both win, like that'd be pretty solid.
It'd be a pretty decent payout in certain.
Mm-hmm. Make work pools and stuff.
Yeah. Because, what is it? Every bracket like doubles the point value of each game.
Yep. And so many people, brackets are crazy busted this year, so. But yeah, I'm just overall just so incredibly amazed that anybody is defending Will Smith in this scenario. I think he could have looked like I think Chris Rock could have looked like the bad guy had Will have just sat there and been like, hey, that's effed up, man. Like, that's not, if you were just yelled, like, that's not a cool joke. Or even yell what he yelled. But only did that.
Yeah.
Or then when he won the award, came up and been like, I just want to start off by saying that my wife has really been struggling with alopecia and I don't appreciate the joke that was made at her expense tonight. Saying that would again be huge. And say he doesn't win the award and he doesn't get that opportunity. He's Will Smith. He could get any reporter to take his statement that he wants to. He could have held on to it afterwards, grabbed the reporter and been like, hey, here's what I think about the Chris Rock joke. I don't think resorting to violence is the play. And people are like, oh, he's defending his wife. And I'm like, yeah, defend her with words then, because that's what Chris Rock used. Chris Rock wasn't punching her. Chris Rock wasn't slapping your wife. How do you feel about the security handling of it?
I didn't see the security handling.
Well, they didn't do anything. That's the thing. Is there are people saying that the security should have stopped them from slapping Chris Rock. And my thing is, there's not exactly like.
I think there's a big protocol set up for.
There's not like exactly a history of celebrities being slapped by other celebrities during the Oscars. That's not something you're looking out for. And also, like when Will Smith comes on the stage, it's not like the security guards are like, oh no, someone's on stage. He gets on the stage and they're like, that's Will Smith. Like, I know who Will Smith is. Like, it's not a stranger. It's not like some random person who somehow got into the Oscars, was on stage. You know how ridiculous it would have looked if Will Smith would have gone on stage and the security would have just tackled him? And that would have been the story. People would have been like, what was security thinking? They probably also don't even know, like, what everybody's going to do. So they probably thought it was just part of it that he walked out there. And then reportedly they did ask him to leave later. And Will said he wasn't going to. They just let him stay.
What do you think even prompted the reaction? Like, they've shown video of him laughing at the joke.
Jada.
You think she just straight up leaned over to him like, Will, you better go up there and defend me that he talks shit about me. Something like that?
Yeah. Yep. Like, I don't know if she clearly said hit him, but I think she's like, you're going to let him talk to me like that? Like, seriously? And then Will just was like, all right. And then went up there and did that. It's just best I wasn't the host. I'll just say that much. Because after Will slapped me, I'd have been attacking the whole August Alsina entanglement stuff. I mean, to be honest with you.
I don't think even if I wasn't the cuck in my relationship, I don't think that I would have defended her like that.
No, I would have used words. I would have looked like the bigger person in that, and I would have came afterwards and like shamed him, afterwards, being like, that's uncool. And make him look like the bad guy that way. I also don't think there's a 0% chance that this was staged because neither person came out looking good.
Yeah, nobody looked great.
Yeah, no one comes out winning this scenario, and that's why I don't think it's staged. But I don't know. I think I would have, if I was him, I would have came out and did that, or like begged, because you said Chris Rock came out and presented another award later, right?
Yeah, because he was the host. He did.
Well, he wasn't the host. The host.
He hosted a bunch of
Regina
shit.
King, Amy Schumer, and Wanda Sykes were the hosts. He was just a guest presenting an award. I didn't know I didn't know he presented another one even, but everyone thinks he was the main host, but he wasn't, just because of that happening. But if I was Chris Rock and I came out to present another award, you know how much I'd have been like researching bald people. I'd have been like coming out there and be like, I hear they need a new spokesperson for Mr. Clean. They want to do a Mrs. Clean. Jada, I can't wait to see it. Like, I'd have been like, just land the same joke the exact same way. Just like, oh, that'd have been hilarious. Probably the wrong thing to do, but funny.
But funny.
But no, after he hit me, I would have been attacking their open marriage struggles, though. The first thing I thought of when I saw it would have been to say, like, dude, Will, other guys have had a lot more than your wife's name in their mouth. It's the first thing I would have said. Probably not the mature thing to say, but I mean, if I just got slapped in the face, I'm probably not handling it perfectly after that.
Fucking Will Smith.
I also wouldn't have made that joke because it just wasn't a good joke. I mean, I didn't think it was a good joke, but at the same time, the audience like loved it. They were like dying laughing, but I didn't think it was funny. Not because of the offensiveness. I just didn't think it was funny. It was just like, oh yeah, she doesn't have hair, haha. Like, that wasn't.
It was a pretty weak joke. It was very fucking 90s.
Yeah, it just wasn't like all that clever. It was just, oh, bald person playing a bald person. Hilarious.
What else we got here? Justice League. You see Ezra Miller got arrested? The Flash?
The Flash? How in the world did they catch him?
Well, he is a do-gooder.
Doesn't sound like it if you get arrested.
We all have weak moments.
I don't remember seeing the comics where Superman goes to jail.
I've heard he was an asshole. A cricket outside the garage. I've heard he's an asshole.
The guy who plays Flash?
Yeah. I mean, look at him. Looks like kind of an asshole, right? Yeah, my camera just keeps on freezing. None of that one. Oh, since our last episode, you saw, and I sent you the video today, that poor 14-year-old kid that fucking died on that Orlando ride.
Yeah, that's awful.
Blew up all over the Googles. He was a big dude. I'm curious as to why anything like this even happened. It never should have happened. He was 300 pounds. He was fucking huge. He was like 6'5". He was from Missouri. He'd been ejected from, or refused to go on a bunch of rides. I don't understand how these ride works. These free fall rides. I'm not riding one. I'm not a roller coaster tycoon. But they sound awful. I don't like that feeling of my stomach going into my throat. So I'm not doing that. And then there's the sudden stop too. You kind of get whiplash. The older I get, the more of a pussy I turn into. It's like your body just, all your arteries and everything are hardening. So like those rapid movements really just upset you quite a bit. Are you a roller coaster rider?
Yeah, I like roller coasters. I liked it more when I was younger. I just don't care to wait in the lines now that I'm older. It's kind of like fireworks to me. Like, I used to love fireworks as a kid. Now I'm like, yeah, I've seen fireworks. I get it. I get the general idea.
That's an interesting comparison.
I mean, it's just another thing that like you love, and then as you get older, it's like, yeah, it's just more of a hassle than what it's worth. Like, to me, roller coaster rides, like to wait in a line for 2 hours to ride a ride for 2 minutes is kind of rough. You get an amusement park ride, you wait, you just stand in lines in the heat for like 12 hours a day to ride like 6 rides. Like, no thanks. Very much meh.
Yeah, as I get older, I'm really locked into the good food there. Which Nicole went to Universal and she said that shit was delicious. It feels like the issue with this camera is me. Gotta change all these weird settings. But it doesn't matter, my video's not coming through to me anyway. So you know what I'm doing this weekend. What are you doing this weekend?
I don't know. Probably going to the farmer's market, get some veggies, get some bread, go to a coffee shop, get a cold brew. Probably take Marshall to the baseball diamond, hit some baseballs. That's about it. Nothing too crazy.
Where's the farmer's market?
Punta Gorda. That's where I go. It's a good time.
I can dig it. I'm all for that.
Yeah, we go every Saturday. I love it. Because we get there, and, you know, we get all our veggies for the week for our meal plan. And it's nice to have fresh veggies versus, like, you know, Walmart produce. And then we get some fresh bread. And then after we get that stuff, we walk over to a coffee shop there. And Bethany usually gets a lemonade, like a lavender lemonade thing. And then we get Marshall a snack of some kind, and I get a cold brew. And it's a good time. Tomorrow will also be Marshall's last day in his safety around water class. Although, apparently there's going to be a big storm coming through the area tomorrow. And if there's lightning, class will be canceled. Which I don't really understand because the pool, the Y is inside, so I don't really understand how lightning within 5 miles cancels it. But I don't know if they just don't want people leaving the gym like soaking wet, or I don't know, man. That's where we're at with that. I have 2 more weeks in my current job.
Hey!
Starting.
Are you excited for it?
Starting DCF on Good Friday. What a start date, right? MLB starts next Thursday, 1 week from today. It's opening day. Pretty stoked about it.
You should be. Except it's the same job, just a different agency, right?
No, it's a different job.
Oh, wait, you're on the investigative side again, right?
Mm-hmm. I'll be the one being called to go check stuff out when there's alleged abuse and neglect, versus being the person who's around with kids have already been removed. So it'll be different. But hey. I already got my I'm getting my license for case management in Florida. I'm finishing that up this week, and then I'll get my license at DCF as an investigation in Florida, so I'll be duly certified. So I'll be considered a child welfare expert.
Child welfare expert?
Yeah, some super big deal in Florida, apparently. If you get duly certified, it's like a big deal. Like, I can go to court, and when I'm speaking or giving my advice on something, it'll be seen as a child welfare expert giving their opinion.
So you can truly give expert testimony?
Yeah, an expert testimony. I mean, that's kind of cool. It's not cool. It may not matter in the scheme of things, but I don't know. There's more flash to being on the DCF side, in my opinion, because you show up to a school or a hospital, and you're just like DCF, and they're like, all right, cool, this way. You know, when you show your badge, you just get in. Like, even during COVID, when I was in Indiana, when I showed my DCS badge, the hospital was like, yeah, cool, this way. You know, you don't have restrictions. You just go to where you need to go.
So it's truly
You're like law enforcement.
You don't know who I am?
It kind of is like that. I mean, it's like law enforcement. You aren't told no. Like, you just park where you want, and you're like, I have to go here. Like, but the bummer is, like, you're not seen as a first responder at all. Like, you know, during COVID, like, the first responder people, like, how everyone's like, oh, the police and firefighters and
nurses.
EMTs and nurses. But people are like, what about DCS? And people are like, we
Fuck
hate
them
people.
Fuck DCS.
We hate them.
You know, the problem is...
But if you are a first responder, you're literally in the thick of it.
The problem is that...
Dwight Howard just trained a 3. On purpose.
I think they're just giving up on the season. The problem is everyone has such bad interactions with DCF. You never talk to them.
No one wants you. No one likes you until there's an issue, and they call you in, basically. And then you're supposed to fix everything. And then when you can't, they hate you again.
And then there's the other issue of my negative ones for DCF, where I felt like they were moving someone from a safe environment to a less safe one. Because it's like, it's such an underfunded thing. It's just like, you guys hands tied. Your hands get tied pretty easily.
Well, it's one of the things. What are you gonna do? Like, as a DCF in Florida, in DCF, we don't place the kids. Like, DCF doesn't necessarily place the kids. It's you kind of work. You do the initial placement, but after that, it's case management who moves the kids around. But also, like, when you think about it, like, what are you gonna do? Like, you can't just leave a kid in a place they're getting beat. And you can't judge based on how messed up this foster parent's going to be, or this person who passes background checks who's the kid's uncle who's going to end up being a mess. That's usually what it is. People want to blame foster parents, but most of the time when you remove a kid and they get placed somewhere else and something bad happens, it's someone the parents chose. It'd be like if I removed from you and you said that I want, I don't know, your mom to have him or something, and then she's worse to Jackson than you were. Yeah, that's usually what happens. And it's like, yeah, well, we couldn't do anything. We ran her back. You know, the parents said they wanted them to go here. We ran their background checks. It was clean. They passed their drug screens. You know what I mean? Like, we can't just assume that their family friend or whoever it is that passed all their background screens and passed their drug screens is going to be an abuser. Like, there's no way to know that. But that's usually what people say. It's like, oh, you know, they removed it from me, and then this person is like, yeah, well, you told them to put them there. Foster parents, I've worked with a lot of foster parents over my career, and I've heard stories of foster parents being bad to kids, but it is not at all common. I mean, you have to go through a lot to get your license to be a foster care worker.
My aunt and uncle were foster. I don't know what it even pays. Some people say they get it on, just to get that government dole, but
they don't give very much.
I can't pay that much. I guess if you have 8 kids and treat them all like shit and feed them ramen noodles, you're probably doing all right.
I mean, I've maybe in the city, like in Chicago and places like that, where there's just so many people that need to be placed and there's so few foster parents or something. But like for the most part, you don't get enough money to like not work. That makes like you have to have a job still, and it's barely enough money to take care of the kid. Like you can get enough money to take care of the kid if you're like skimping. But if you raise a kid like a normal person raises a kid, which is what most foster parents do, by the way, you actually end up paying to be a foster parent. Most of them do. Because most get paid less than what they spend on the kid.
I didn't realize it was that bad.
It's not even that bad. It's just like, what, if you go to Disney with your kids or something, you're not going to take the kid that you're fostering. You're going to take them, and that's not going to be paid for, so you have to pay for it. You know, you and Nicole, so you guys are fostering, you guys go out to dinner. You're going to be like, well, you're eating a peanut butter jelly sandwich before we leave, and then the rest of us are going to go eat Chili's. No, you're going to pay for it. And the stipend doesn't pay, like what they get paid it basically pays for the bare minimum food. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to pay for a whole bunch of stuff. Like Christmas gifts, they get like $100. So like that's like $100 for Christmas and $100 for their birthday, and that's it. So if you ever want to get them anything else throughout the year,
Okay, so that's really not as good as.
no, like people talk like people are out there profiting off of being a foster parent, but they're not. Like I'm sure there are extreme examples where somebody in like, you know, like the people from, what's that show with Frank?
Oh, Shameless?
Yeah. Like the example on Shameless where there's people like, I'm sure there are those people who somehow get like 8 foster kids and they're basically like, you're eating ramen noodles. And I think Step Up had it too. But like, I'm sure that happens where someone's like, you're eating ramen every day. That's what you're eating. And I'm pocketing the rest. But I think most of the time, it's like, I have food in the house, eat whatever you want. Like, from my experience, it's usually the kids can eat whatever they want in the house. They have the food out because they live there. Most people who foster are doing it out of the kindness of their hearts. They're not doing it to profit. It's not very profitable. But I'm glad you said that because it is a common misnomer of the situation. Everything gets a bad rap. People hear that we get bonuses if we take children. True and not true, by the way, on that one.
You know, a lady blew up in Texas about that.
There is some truth to it. You do get more money from the federal government for removing kids, but it's only to help pay for the foster care and the core and all that stuff. It's not, I don't see that money. Like, that's, the state does get more money for moving kids, but it's from the federal government basically to help cover the kids' safety stuff. But it's talk like I get a bonus, like I'm going to get, $100 for each removal. And what they don't realize is not only do I not get paid more, I also have a lot more work to do that I don't want to do. A lot of paperwork. I have to go to court now. I don't want to remove kids. No one wants to remove kids.
Ooh. Gross burp. Let's see. There was, I think she was Texas though.
It's probably not DCF in Texas. I mean, it could be anything. It could be, I don't know what it would be in Texas because in Indiana it's DCS, it's Department of Child Services, and then in here it's Department of Children and Families. I know in Illinois it's FCS, it's Family and Children Services. So like everywhere has their own little Their little thing.
In Illinois, it used to be DCFS, Department of Children and Family Services.
Yep, still is. FCS is Ohio.
Ah.
But it's like, it's one of those things where it just goes.
And I was looking up best running backs in the draft class.
Breeze.
Him and Kenneth Walker and Spiller, depending on the website. Well, Spiller's never number one, but
Spiller has most upside. It'll depend where he goes.
he lacks that.
Got so much speed. That's the thing, is it all depends on where they go. Like with receivers especially. Like it doesn't matter if you think they're not the best receiver. If they go to Kansas City, you know, they're at a place where they can succeed.
What was the next one? Oh, no, I forgot to talk about it last time at the last episode. Venice man arrested for repeatedly ramming his pickup truck into a home.
Why?
And to make it even better, he's only 38 too. Ramming his Chevy into the home of somebody while blasting the song Wrecking Ball by Miley Cyrus.
Why?
During his arrest, he reported to the officers that his foot slipped.
That's why he was ramming back and forth?
Yep. The woman called 911 and told the dispatcher she heard Antonaris screaming, "Fuck you," while they drove into the house. Antonaris and the woman know each other, but it didn't say, but he's arrested, bail for $50,000. Antonaris told officers that the homeowner was not a good person and the incident was a message. He's arrested for criminal mischief and shooting into or throwing deadly missiles into dwellings. They really breezed over that throwing deadly missiles part. That's the last sentence of the whole thing. Just be thankful you weren't hanging out at an AMC in Burbank, California, or Burbank is in LA or something. Some lady, did you see her video performing her stand-up because the projector was broken at the movies?
No.
It is bad. She's not even a good comedian. Why is this not playing? Oh, just okay. First off, disconnect from that. Disconnect from that. Why do things not automatically disconnect these days?
So I also like to give advice to people. I believe in Buddha. Jesus was never married. He could have been dropped off the kids for a week and have been like, "Here's your dead fish, bitch." I want to help. I want to inspire. I've been going through depression. Does anybody in here chant? I'm like, if that can get Tina Turner away from Ike Turner, that can get me out of my one bedroom into a house in the hills. And I joined the all-black gospel choir. I look back over my life and I think things over. Usually when I sing that song, the white people are confused. Put us out of our misery, please. Put us out of our misery. Oh, you want to come down here and try to entertain people? Well, you're trying to dim my light, so you need something. I never thought I would see like a racist Asian. Sometimes people get jealous if they haven't been through as many things as you. So this is an opera that I wrote. I actually did it the other night at the Laugh Factory, and they loved it.
Can't play it because it's like 15 seconds of her doing opera.
Wow. That's something.
I would never go to the movies again.
I mean, you're probably not going to see her again.
Hello, my love. I see you're still wearing scrubs. Computer's broke. It's not connecting the camera. Everything. That's all fucked up. I'm not playing Spotify. I don't know. I'm thinking. I'll turn his white noise back on. Don't. There's another one. A pepperoni one at the bottom. Don't eat her cheesy pizza. Yes. It's her lunch tomorrow. Check and see if there's another cheesy pizza one then. Okay, it's trying to feed 2 different kids here, I guess. Then take it, and you can make her sandwich tomorrow. You can make her sandwich tomorrow. That's fair. Look at, now she's weighing whether or not a Lunchable is worth having to make a sandwich in the morning. Just take it. She doesn't look in her lunchbox before I send her to school.
And she won't be here this weekend, so it's fine.
You know, check the other fridge. There might be a Lunchable in there. Yeah, parenting when eating kids' Lunchables. Good job. I know, babe. I know. Love you. Glad you made it home safe. Anywho. But see, it's getting better and better. Our dropped frame rate went from 65%, it's down to 30.9%. I don't get it. I think technology is here to... And some fucking Republicans just trying to destroy my... I can't believe the Bucks
won that game.
Considering they were down, 8 with 3 minutes left?
Mm-hmm. And no Middleton.
That was an ugly shot, too, by Durant. Man, look at him. Gray and bald. He needs to talk to LeBron's guy. Mm-hmm. Oh. I forgot. We're still recording and live. Wait, you had stuff you wanted to talk about. Hold on. It was...
Will Smith, basically, was the big one. And then just that St. Peter's is all done. No more time. Peacocks
Tom Brady.
Are no longer flying. Oh.
Tom Brady owns the Bucks.
Yeah, he's no more Bruce Arians. And I do not buy for a second that Bruce was done. There was no talk of him stopping. And I think basically that Tom said, I'm retiring because I don't want to play for Bruce Arians anymore. I want to play for someone else. And they're like, we're not doing that. And he's like, well, I just want to play for Bruce. And then basically I think that the ownership went to Bruce Arians and said, hey, we can do this one of 2 ways. We can relieve you of your duties, or we can announce Tom's back, and then a month and a half, 2 months later, we can say that you're transitioning to the front office.
That is crazy.
Because that's too convenient, right? That there was the rumor that they had the rift, and then now he's not going to coach. And they're not even hiring Brian Leftwich. They're promoting the defensive coordinator so Tom can run his offense. I mean, that's what they're doing.
Is it that, clash, or is it so that way Byron can stay focused and not have to worry?
There was a whole clash of Bruce Arians wanted to run his offense, and they were running it. It wasn't working. Tom ran his offense. They won the Super Bowl. Then year 2, Bruce Arians is like, we're running my offense. And I guess there was a whole thing about he was telling Tom that he couldn't make audibles He was telling other players not to listen to Tom. Tom's not allowed to make audibles. Tom was audibling out of Bruce Arians' plays, and there's this whole rift last season. And they're arguing over, basically, it was one of those giant dick measuring contests. Who gets to run the offense? And then now Tom was like, has the team.
You can't. Like, Tom is one of a kind. Bruce could have ridden those coattails.
He should have, because I understand that Bruce wants to run his offense, and that's fine.
And Tom likes running a Bruce Arians style still. He doesn't want to check down everything. He still risks it for the biscuit. Like,
the thing is, you just got to... You can't tell Tom to learn a completely new scheme at 40-something. Especially when he's had all that success. And he has Evans and Godwin and... Gronk's gonna be back.
You know what? If that's who you want, get Andy Dalton. He'll run your offense. Cause look,
he'll run whatever you want. Go get Garoppolo.
Where do you think Garoppolo?
Go trade for Baker. I hear he's available.
So it's Garoppolo.
Garoppolo's available for the price. Baker is available to just take. If you take his contract, they'll give him to you. You could trade a conditional seventh for Baker right now. As long as you're willing to basically just take his contract, they would give him to you. They just want to pay Baker. Garoppolo, they actually want something in return. Not a lot, mind you.
What do you mean not a lot? They said they have offers for seconds on the table.
No, they don't.
That's what they're claiming.
They're lying. They couldn't trade him. Like,
I don't think they would.
Like
I don't think they would get a
pick.
fourth. Yeah, I think they would get a fourth, but I don't think they'd hit a third unless it was like a conditional third, and that team has to make the Super Bowl or something.
Or just a team that's like the Colts might have gave him a third. They didn't, mind you, because they ended up trading for Matt Ryan,
Matty Ice.
But they're the type of team that would have, because they were a good team outside of that. But
it goes to show you what they think of Baker, though, that they went with the 37-year-old.
Dude, no one thinks Baker's good. No one thought Baker was that good except for Cleveland. Cleveland took him number 1 overall, and everyone was like, what are you doing? Like, people were like, Josh Allen's a quarterback, right? And in fairness, the other two were Sam Darnold and Josh Rosen, and they didn't really necessarily work. But Baker was not the pick of those 4 guys. He was behind the other 3. Everyone said it was Rosen, Allen, or Darnold were the 3 quarterbacks. And then they took Baker out of nowhere. And in fairness, Darnold or Rosen might have been better. If they would have went to Cleveland with all those weapons.
There's a chance Darnold would have done well with that system.
Yeah, instead of Adam Gase. Let's not necessarily say Adam Gase is the play. And then he went to Kansas City or Carolina, but they also run a really jankety offense.
Let's not forget, he led the league in rushing touchdowns for like 6 weeks.
It's true. That's true.
I don't think he's awful. I think he's a victim of
bad situations.
Yeah, I think he's a victim of circumstance, which I think my Bears are in the real risk of destroying Justin Fields if they don't fucking get their act together.
Yeah.
Although, I think the scheme and system will be better than the players are this year, and it was the opposite last year. And everyone's talking about how bad the players are that the Bears lost. A lot of the players the Bears have let go this season didn't contribute to this team last year. Mac was hurt in 9 games. Hakeem Nicks played 6 games. A-Rob looked like he just quit playing. He was already schemed out. They've already talked about that.
Here's a fun question for you. Mm-hmm. Who wins the AFC West? With all the turmoil and all the big moves.
I see. How do you bet against Kansas City?
How would you think that they finish next season? Like in what order?
What order?
For me, the Raiders are 4th.
Still 4th. The Raiders are the Raiders.
They're 4th.
I think the Broncos still go 3rd.
I think it's the Chargers.
They could. They got it. Is their defense still kind of iffy?
No, they signed 2 elite corners and Khalil Mack. They loaded up on defense. Their defense should be elite. To me, I think all those teams are good on paper. I think that Herbert is good. I do, but he's not as good as Mahomes. I don't care what Gwen says. Mahomes is game-breakingly different. People are writing the Chiefs off so early because they traded Tyreek Hill. They have 6 picks in the first 3 rounds in a deep wide receiver class. They could take 2. They could take 3.
They flipped
receivers.
Last season, that's one of the reasons the Bears took Ryan Poles. He flipped almost the entire offensive line to go from like 28th in the league to 12th in one offseason with no first-round pick. It's like, what the fuck?
I mean, they have 6 picks in the first 3 rounds. The Chiefs do more than any other team.
They also have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So like, I mean,
no, they already have Kelsey. I don't think Juju's a slouch.
No, great slot. I think it's an up. Is he actually a slot receiver? Is that his actual position, or is he a 2? Is he a Y?
All right, so 1s and 2s and 3s are kind of misnomers in the league.
X, Y, Z.
Yeah, there's an X receiver, a Z receiver, and a slot receiver. Those are the receivers. He's a slot, a great one though, a chain moving slot. And there's different types at each position. Like Godwin's a slot, and he's different than the Julian Edelman slot.
Dink and dunk.
Yeah,
Z routes, and
Adam Thielen is a slot guy who can get some deep routes. Like there are big slot receivers, and there are shifty guys. Like there are the Hunter Renfrows, and there's the Jujus. But Juju is very good. He's sure-handed, willing blocker. Valdez-Scantling is fast
with shitty hands. As someone who gets to watch the NFC North,
yeah.
MVS, I have never seen more drops than him in open territory.
I think they're going to draft somebody or 2.
I hope they do. I think the Bears taking Pringle. I think not a downgrade for the Chiefs, upgrade for the Bears, because Juju's a much better slot receiver than Pringle. The physicality that Juju can possess.
Was Pringle their slot?
He is a slot, yeah. That's why they supposedly didn't go for Juju. They wanted Pringle. I don't know why. I think it was just a body type and a public demeanor.
Pittsburgh didn't want Juju. Pittsburgh didn't want him because he signed a 1-year deal with Kansas City. He wanted a long-term deal with Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh basically was like, he's had a lot of injuries and he's only going to get older. And with his physical play style, that's where they're concerned that he's not going to quit getting injured because he plays so physical and he's already had several injuries.
No, that's the opposite of Pringle.
And
not opposite.
We have Deontay. We need to pay him.
So the thing with Pringle, very underutilized, low snap count, but he still had 600 yards last year.
And I think it's interesting in this pass happy league. You know how many X receivers there actually are, like good X receivers in the league? There are not 32.
We're gonna say probably 7 or 8.
I mean,
good. Like okay, so elite.
No,
good.
Like acceptable. Even like 14. The team is happy with them as
14,
their X.
maybe.
Like Deontay's one of them.
Because what are they doing with Chase?
Because even like Cup, he's a slot. It's different. It's still a good player. I mean, you can make your money different ways, obviously. Like, there are people who Tyreek Hill's elite, but he's a Z receiver.
Yeah,
he's a deep threat.
And the utility. An elite slot is more important than an X. Because a slot's going to move the chains.
Yes and no.
So
the best receivers of all time have been X receivers. Calvin Johnson was an X. Randy Moss was an X.
Z.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Z is the least important. Z is the most replaceable. It's just a deep threat, basically. Contested catches, the Claypool role, and it's very meh. But yes, slot is definitely. I thought you were saying they're an X. I'm like, the X's are usually the best receivers in the league. Like Devontae Adams is an X receiver, because to be an X receiver, you basically run all the routes. You run deep routes, you run slot routes.
Yeah, you have to
run all of them.
You have to have like what is it?
You have to be able to run slants, curls.
There's essentially like 16 routes or something between double moves.
Yeah, You need a full route tree to be an X receiver, and very few receivers can actually run a full route tree.
I'd say there's probably 6 to 8.
Yeah, I mean, there are probably more that run a full route tree, but like as far as like the really good
Not
receivers,
great.
there's probably like I don't know 10
Plus-
or 15
Plus,
receivers.
when
in the
you
league.
talk about that, I say it's not just that. They have to be able to extend the play.
Antonio was an X. He was the X.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Like, and that's the funny thing about Pittsburgh fans who are like, oh, let's not pay Deontay. Let's go draft a guy. I'm like, yeah, we'll just go draft another receiver who can run every route. Sure.
And think of how many yards a season Tyreek gets from that extended play to find the quarterback's eyes.
I think he's not going to do as well
I think he's
because Tua does not have that same arm.
not even close.
I think Mahomes unlocked him a little bit. And
because he can throw the ball 65 yards on a.
I think Valdez-Scantling's going to have a decent year because he's just going to be open downfield because he's still blinding fast. That just wasn't the Packers' offense.
No, they
Aaron
try to run
Rodgers just fed Devontae over and over and over and over.
and
and over.
they do have a bit of a run zone, play action.
They just kind of run the football and then play catch between Rodgers and Devontae was their whole offense.
I wonder how the Packers do this year because like they're
They don't have anyone to throw to.
as much as people shit on the Bears and their offensive team, like the percentage of the offense that ran through Devontae and Aaron is a lot. It's huge.
They're just going to run the ball with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon over and over and over, which is fine. But my question is, who are they going to throw? Do they have Al Lazard? Is that it? And Cobb?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have any other receivers on their roster?
They have to.
I mean, are they going to sign Odell? They should. They should 100% sign Odell. He's the only free agent receiver right now who they can put out there and basically be like, that someone that Aaron Rodgers could pepper.
Catch the fucking ball, dude.
And Odell would love to go there and just get peppered with targets. You know he would.
He ain't gonna. Yeah, maybe so, but he would hate that nightlife. He wants popularity too, and
Well, he would hate playing with Aaron Rodgers because no one likes it. Devontae hates him. Greg Jennings hates him. Randall Cobb is like the only receiver that's played with Rodgers who likes him.
oh man, oh. Two of their wide receivers don't even have photos. Two of their wide receivers don't even have Packers uniforms in their profile picture. It's Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, and Malik Taylor, who...
No, that's not a real guy. It's not a real person.
What are his stats?
I think Taylor's someone who gets generated in Madden when you're 10 years deep.
2 catches for 14 yards.
25 yards more than I assumed, but...
Yeah. They said...
do you know the Steelers only have 2 wide receivers on their roster right now? I've never seen that before this late in the season for us. Literally 2.
was it just Chase Deontay?
Just Chase and Deontay are the only people we have. I would like the Steelers to draft Pickens. He's a classic Z receiver. That'd be cool. I mean, but here's the thing. I want, from a weird standpoint, I want Pittsburgh to draft Jahan Dotson from Penn State. Only because how fun would it be to be like our receivers are out there. It's Deontay Johnson and Jahan Dotson. That's just fun to say, right? Deontay Johnson and Jahan Dotson. Say it all day.
The wide receivers over the past 2 weeks, it has been crazy how much they've gone up in mock drafts.
No,
They're moving up like wide receivers.
I want in the second round. I want the Steelers to take Pickens or Sky Moore. Like I want a fast receiver. I want to basically tell Chase, figure out the slot, dude. You can't get open on deep threats. Use your size in the slot and be a nightmare. Be one of those like size mismatches in the middle.
You said Pickens where?
In the second, but he's
won't
not
be
going to
there.
be there anymore. He was for a long time, but now he's become.
Yeah, he was top 50
he was
until
like,
this past week. Now
people thought that he was going to be there for 52 for Pittsburgh. Now he's going to be like 38, 39 probably.
he doesn't fall that far. I think
You
he
have to. There's too many receivers above him. Because you already have.
Olave was originally intended to go to 25. Now they have projected top 10.
Yeah, there's Olave. Olave's not even the best in the draft.
He's not even the best on his team.
Yeah, there's Garrett Wilson, and there's Traylon Burks is probably the best in the draft. So it's hard to believe that Olave would go 10 because that would mean that there'd be, 3 receivers, Burks, Olave, and Wilson all going in the top 10 picks?
No, they had Olave going before Wilson. Olave was the second wideout off the board. And
If Wilson was left at 20, give me him.
Yeah.
He has no business being that low. Burks has no business being that low. The thing is, they're going, there's going to be receivers, basically, because I like 5 receivers. So, Pittsburgh should be able to get one of them by pick 52 if they want.
See, look, a new one updated 45 minutes ago. It's got Wilson going to the Jets at 4.
At 4? God, that's such a Jets move.
Falcons, Drake London.
Oh, yeah, Drake
8.
London also at 8.
Olave to the Commanders. Bop, 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 bop.
Where do they have Burks going?
I'll let you know when I get there. I'm scrolling away. A lot of mock drafts have Malik Willis going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's the new hot thing that he's going to somehow
Jahan
fall to
Dotson,
20.
22 to the Packers.
Jahan Dotson was 22. So Burks still wasn't gone?
Oh, yeah.
I think Burks is the best receiver in the draft.
26, the Titans.
Burks and A.J. Brown, huh? What a nightmare for teams. Burks is he's in my opinion the best receiver in the draft. He's not gonna flash because he's not top end speed, but he's like a 6'3". He's one of those monster guys. It's like a Metcalf that's gonna get slept on because people just want the fastest person.
Yeah, but Metcalf is fucking fast.
No, I mean Burks isn't slow, but I'm saying they want the fastest person.
There's speed, and then there's speed with pads.
Yeah,
And the monster that DK is, there's no. He's just such a prototype. He has Calvin Johnson body, where it's just like.
Do you hear he said he eats 4 bags of candy a day?
Oh, DK?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No chance.
No, I don't think so.
4 packs of M&Ms maybe? Is that what he means by bags? 4 candy bar sized bags? Because if that's what he means, sure, I could buy that.
It's gotta be.
He's
too fucking lean.
He could. If he's eating 4 packs of M&Ms, he could do it.
Maybe minis.
And if he's eating 4 regular packs of peanut M&Ms, he could do it. As much as he works out all day. There's still the protein in the peanuts and.
Not much. Dude has to have less than 10% body fat. That's where it's.
Michael Phelps, though. Dude ate a case of Oreos every day. A full package. Because he said he just needed calories. Phelps ate 12,000 calories a day. Swimming is another level, but I'm saying you can work out to a point. Because he's not like The Rock, where you have to have all of your calories come from protein, because he's not that big. So, I mean, he might just need calories for energy.
Well, The Rock's on roids. It's not the same.
I mean, the bodybuilder type is just different because all your calories need to be protein, basically. You know when you get that huge?
Oh, for sure. Let's see.
But to be lean, it's just calories in minus calories out, right? That's
true. All these diet plans, it's really just bullshit. It's calories in, calories out.
And if you're burning enough calories, you can eat it. If for some reason he's budgeting in candy, here's my thing. Maybe he's telling the truth. And he doesn't drink any soda, and he doesn't drink alcohol, really. And you know what I mean? And the candy is just the thing he does, right?
Oh, this other one from NFL.com. The first wide receiver is not off till 10. That Garrett Wilson. Drake London at 13. Traylon Burks at 16 to the Eagles.
They have no idea what receivers are going where, do they?
No, 22 Olave.
They're
the
doing
Packers.
them in different orders, even. They have
Jameson,
no idea.
yeah, it's so hard to tell. But because it's so stacked. Jahan Dotson, 26 to the Titans.
Who does that one have the Steelers taking at 20?
offensive tackle Bernard Raymond.
It's the first time I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's a fresh update.
I'd be satisfied with that. To me, I want to take Malik because that's our guy, apparently. That's who Pittsburgh's in love with. Even if we trade up to like 5 to get him. Like I was telling my cousin, like if we trade up to 5 to get Malik, I would feel more comfortable than if we took like Sam Howell at 20. Only because if we took Sam Howell at 20, I'd feel like we're taking a quarterback because we're taking a quarterback. It's like, no, that's a terrible solution. Like if you're trading up to get the person that you think is the person, yes, do that. But if you're just taking a quarterback to take a quarterback, I don't want to do that.
Where's the wide receiver that South Dakota?
Christian Watson.
That's it.
He's good too.
But that's a fear, though. Another FCS school. It's so hard because they play against such inferior competition.
If Pittsburgh takes him, you know he's good.
I haven't seen a mock draft with him on it though.
No, but I'm saying if Pittsburgh takes him, because it doesn't matter what the mock drafts say. No one thought Pittsburgh was looking at Deontay, and like Pittsburgh just takes guys in like the 3rd or 4th round, and then they're just like studs. Antonio was like a 6th round pick. Santonio Holmes was like a 5th round pick. We drafted Emmanuel Sanders also, and Mike Wallace. Like Pittsburgh just drafts guys.
One thing that's disheartening.
Claypool has been like our biggest miss, and it's not like he's terrible. And it's still kind of early in his career.
A disheartening thing is that my Bears, our first big splash pick, failed physical, unsigned. Last week, go to sign the guard from Buffalo, fits the profile, Ryan Bates. They match the fucking offer.
Yep.
How often do matched offers happen? Like it doesn't happen often.
I don't know.
Especially when the Bears paid mid-tier price of a starting offensive lineman. Buffalo matched it, and he's still not going to start.
That's wild.
That's heartbreaking. So right now, the Bears offensive guard they have is a guy that sacked Kirk Cousins. Left guard sacked his own quarterback last year.
Nice.
You took our other one.
Yeah.
I think the biggest I hope he succeeds for you. I don't know if it was our shitty O-line coach who got fired.
Why does his scheme fit? We're running to run his own offense, and they said that's what James Daniels specializes in, and the new Bears management doesn't want to run his own offense. So sometimes that happens with guys. It's like with defensive linemen. Some people are built for 4-3s, and they need to go to somewhere where they can play their 3-4 or whatever it is. So that's what they said. They said that Daniels was someone that was going to be heavily pursued in free agency because he was a talented guy who just didn't fit the Bears scheme.
Nobody fits that Bears scheme.
Well, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's cool.
It does make it hard to. It's like when the new management comes in, no one knows who does what because like this is a fucking cluster.
That's why I'm glad that the Steelers, because we signed Matt Canada to be our offensive coordinator. He wants to run this fancy offense with a lot of motion and QB bootlegs and like play action and all like tons of play action and all this movement. Obviously, last year he was handicapped with Ben because like that's not going to work.
Can't roll out far with the statue.
I'm really happy that we got Mitchell Trubisky because
the one thing he does well is good rollouts.
He's mobile, so that to me, I'm like, even if he's not the future and he's not that great, like I'm not saying he's the franchise quarterback, test the offense at least.
Honestly,
because what if you run the scheme and you're like, yeah, we like this scheme. This scheme's awesome. If we had a better quarterback, we'd be amazing. But if you run the scheme and you're like, this scheme is just trash and it has no business being in the NFL, then you know that and you can get a new offensive coordinator before you get a new QB, right? Like you can test it out.
All day I would take Mitch over Baker.
Yeah, or Rudolph. Or Haskins.
I truly think
the weird thing
he's a more athletic Tannehill.
The wild thing about Mitch, though, is all of his ex-teammates in Chicago and in Buffalo are like, he's good. Like, that's all I've heard from ex-teammates. They're like, he's good. It's just he had a bad situation in Chicago. And then there were no starting jobs, so he took a 1-year deal in Buffalo.
Paid off.
There were no starting jobs available. And a lot of people were like, oh, he got a big, here the Steelers signed him. It's weird that everyone thinks he's good after he didn't play for a year. It's like, no, he went from, there weren't any options. There were a lot of quarterbacks that like retired and like there are more quarterback openings this year than there have been in a long time.
Yeah, just like this season. Because
Seattle's wide open. Falcons were wide open. Pittsburgh was wide open.
Bruce Arians left. That's 10. A third of the league changed coaches this year.
Yep. And there's just a ton of quarterback job openings everywhere.
It's just how contracts worked out this year.
Yeah, and it's just, to me, that's why Mitchell Trubisky became more valuable. When you have 10 teams that need a quarterback.
And now there's still 2 without a real quarterback. Like the Seahawks.
They have Drew Lock, right?
That's not a quarterback.
But at one time, like that's who they have. Like, it's their best option right now. Falcons have Mariota.
I'm hearing that they're still looking at a 6-game suspension for Deshaun to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard that Baker said he's not going to play to give up his position.
Dude, I sure hope he doesn't.
That would be a boss-ass move.
I hope that he's still on the roster and they just have to pay him. And they're paying him money and paying Deshaun money for Jacoby Brissett to start games. Like, what a mess. Or what happens if you convince Baker to go and they go 6-0 with Baker? Then they have the bench for Deshaun. Deshaun goes 0-2. Not 0-1. 0-2 to start. And has like bad games. As a Steelers fan and a Deshaun Watson hater at this point, but regardless because of the allegations and stuff like it, how funny would it be if he just sucks now? Like after a year of not playing? What if he's just not very good? And then they had to pay him all that money. It's fully guaranteed.
It's fully guaranteed.
Because he's not playing football in a year.
What about Lamar?
Lamar's good.
Yeah, but Lamar apparently is refusing to even discuss contract now.
Why?
Because the owner from Baltimore is very bitter that they had a fully guaranteed contract for Deshaun.
I heard about that.
And now, because Deshaun has never won a playoff game, Deshaun is not an MVP. They did not offer equivalent money to Lamar. So he has refused to come back to the negotiation table.
Good.
But he wants it all guaranteed. Yeah, this is it. This is year 5. This is it.
Well, they could tag him, right?
They could tag him.
They will.
But negotiations as of now are a long ways apart.
They'll tag him. I mean, that's what. When's the last quarterback outside of Kirk Cousins? Has there been another quarterback that's been tagged year 6?
No. He was the first one ever to do it, I think, that got the double tag because it only became a thing the year before he did it.
Has any quarterback recently been single tagged?
Not that didn't work out a contract because they did it to Dak. They tagged Dak because he only got a 4-year deal because he didn't get the 5th-year option because he was a 3rd-round pick or 4th-round pick.
It's very rare, obviously, to get tagged as a QB because usually you pay your guy or you move on.
Mm-hmm.
As a Steelers fan, I wish that
if Lamar leaves Baltimore, that team is fucked because they have built an offense around Lamar.
Dude, I wish that the thing that sucks is they will tag him. I wish that they wouldn't get a contract and they wouldn't tag him and he'd walk and we'd sign him.
I think
we have receivers.
Yeah.
We have a defense.
The concern is like if you're gonna be that stubborn this early on, like it's a struggle. If you get to the point you just don't even want to negotiate. Deshaun fucked up the market.
Good. I think it's wild. My dad's all bitter about it. He's like, oh, I think it's stupid. I think it's a bad contract. I'm like, tough. Don't sign him then.
The contracts aren't going away. They're gonna at a certain point the NFL is gonna have to change the payout structure, and it's gonna have to be a separate pool for quarterbacks and the rest of the players.
See, I don't. That's what my cousin says. I don't agree with that. I think that they should do
Between like Tyreek and Patrick Mahomes, they're taking up like 45% of the cap.
Yep.
I know Tyreek switched, but like that's what you're looking at. Like you can't. It's not feasible. So you're either gonna have an elite wide receiver and a shit ass quarterback, or elite.
I think the answer is you take a play from the basketball book where you can pay more money to someone you drafted.
Oh, Supermax.
Yeah. And you only do it. You can only have. I was talking to my dad about it.
2 Supermax.
You get 2 Supermaxes per side of the football.
Oh, per side. Oh shit. I would say 2 total.
Well, just because you encourage drafting. There's more positions in football.
Yeah, that's true. You're looking at 22
You're 22
starters.
starters. So like you can get
Special
could pay,
teams.
Like if you're Pittsburgh, you draft Malik Willis and he's amazing.
Well,
He
if
can
that's
get
the
a
point, I would say you have to give one to like a taxi squad, a practice squad.
And
Where
there's different numbers per position, obviously. So a quarterback can count for up to $40 million of the cap, and you can pay him beyond that. But they only count towards $40 million in the cap. A pass rusher, you could say is $20 million. A receiver is $15 million, or whatever number they come up with.
you have to change it for quarterback because
Every position has
Kirk's number against the cap's already higher than that.
Right. But I'm saying whatever number they decide upon based on what the salary cap is, and obviously that would change each year.
So you don't mean how much he actually cost. You mean number against the cap.
Right.
So like the Vikings say, Kurt, we'll give you 50, but you only count 40 against our 220 total.
And the Vikings couldn't do that to Kirk because they didn't draft him.
So Lamar can get an extra, say, $10 million a year for his.
Because if you're the NFL, you don't want player movement like it's happening right now. You don't want that. You do.
You don't want to be the NBA.
It's cool. Like, people are excited about it this year, but you don't want it because you don't want players leaving and forming super teams like the Rams are starting to. And like teams are starting to. You don't want that happening. And you don't want the NFL clearly doesn't want the players to have all the power. So
you like parity. Or no, you don't like parity. You like that at any given season anyone can win.
Yep. So you want teams to draft good players to be able to keep those good players. You don't want players having all the power. So to me, I'm like, that's the solution. Almost every team would have their Supermax be their quarterback. Basically every single team would have a quarterback and probably a wide receiver. But like for the Chiefs, for instance, it'd probably be Kelsey and Mahomes on offense. But then you could do 2 different defensive players. And the cool thing is, it wouldn't turn into a baseball problem where teams can't afford it because NFL players are making money hand over fist. They can afford to pay.
They're doing well with marketing too. Marketing is really going in a positive way for football.
And players who demand the Supermax, like the Steelers would probably have like what? TJ Watt, Minka, Deontay, and
one thing that's weird is I thought state income tax would affect sports more than it does.
Does in the NBA. Well, that's why LeBron went to Miami.
Yeah, but
formed the super team.
here he is in LA trying to form a super team too.
Yeah, he's in LA now because that's where his company is for movies and stuff. It has its own little perk.
A different perk.
Yeah.
But like
he wants to retire in LA and live there forever. Can't blame him. It's nicer than Cleveland. I've heard.
A bit.
But yeah, I think that solves the problem because then this Lamar thing wouldn't be an issue. The Ravens are just
but it also
$55 million a year and you're counting towards 40 and we're done.
It can kind of create the same issue that it was in the 70s. It kind of eliminates free agency. And the problem when you eliminate it almost puts too much control in the owner's hands of the players.
No, because the player can agree or not agree. They don't have to take it.
He can truly choose to just not make the money.
Yeah. If they don't want to, if they hate the owner or whatever, they can leave. And then also, you can only get 2 per side. So like, the Cowboys, for instance, they would have given it to Zeke and Dak. They can't give
Not
Amari
now.
the Supermax.
I think the Cowboys are fucking regretting Zeke now right now.
No, but they would have given him the max.
Yeah.
So I'm saying they would have given it to him.
Can you change?
So they couldn't have afforded offensive. No, you can't change. Not to the contract's up. You already gave it to him.
But it's the whole life of the contract, not a per year thing where like you can add on a first year this much money and change it.
Unless they said you're Supermax for 3 years and then you're making $12 million year 4.
Okay.
They could do it that way, but like you have to pay them over what they're being paid. You have to they'd have to declare that.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'm listen. It's a logical system. I want to figure out the logistics of it.
To me, that's what they should do. Basically, like if you're gonna do, because quarterbacks, basically, what are you gonna do? You have to, like when the Ravens played Flacco, what were they going to do? I mean, like Flacco, they knew wasn't worth that money, but at the same token, it's like, do you just want to start over? You know what I mean? Have to just play a guy. Like your hands are completely tied, and so that's where
all of our issues are resolved. Like it stayed at the 47-70 for so long.
But that's where I'm like, you could do like Pittsburgh could be easy. Our Supermaxes would be Minka and Watt, which we can't. Minka wouldn't qualify, obviously.
Right, but in theorem, as you're laying out the plan now,
like that's who we would want to be our Supermax, and then we'd have, on offense. I don't even know if we might not even have to. We might just have Deontay for now, and then we'd be holding an opening for when we get a QB that we want a Supermax.
Oh, well, you Najee it right now,
unless you end up paying for a year. Or 2 years, because you want to hold that spot open for the quarterback, does it? Because the thing is, I don't know. We don't have anyone who is worth that. Is the thing. We don't have anyone worth paying more than what the highest paid person would be. And that would have fixed the Packers issue.
No, because the Packers offered more money than the Raiders did.
He was mad because
he felt betrayed.
Because of the money that Rodgers got, though. But I'm saying if it would have been able to if the Packers could have offered all that money and Rodgers could have been offered all that money, it would have been water under the bridge. And that just with the plan, it would have been like, yeah, you were one of our Supermaxes all along, is you and Rodgers.
No, because Rodgers kept saying it wasn't about the money and he wants to play with his players, and then took such a huge amount, it showed that it wasn't. Because the Packers still offered more money to Devontae than the Raiders are paying him.
I heard that, but I'm not sure it's true.
I think he's just sick of Aaron.
I think so too, but he felt like Aaron was screwing the team with how much money he took, but he wouldn't have felt that way if Aaron would have only counted for whatever against the cap and Aaron just gets paid whatever gets paid. You know what I mean? It would have solved that issue for them. So they would have been able to pay them both an exorbitant amount of money, and it wouldn't matter. But I like it because it doesn't end free agency. It just lets people keep the stars they draft. Like the actual stars.
It gives them a chance to pay them more money or choose to leave. But man, I'm so fucking sick of the Rams.
But you got to keep your actual stars. But the Rams probably wouldn't get all these people.
They got these players now.
I know. But I'm saying they wouldn't be able to get all those people the same way.
Do you think the Seahawks would have Supermax like Bobby Wagner? They drafted him.
No.
So they got Bobby Wagner.
He's different. He's also declined. He's not worth that much money anymore. 5 years, 50. It's a lot. And for a 32-year-old linebacker.
Clearly, that's a bunch of avoidable shit.
They're going all in, and they're going to be terrible in 2 or 3 years.
We've been saying that about the Saints for years.
And they are terrible.
Because they didn't have any quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like, the Rams are going all in on all these guys, and like, they're getting too old, man. They'll be good this year.
Yeah, they'll be good.
They're trading away all their draft picks.
They don't got nothing.
They're doing what the Cowboys did with the Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman years. Emmitt Smith, where you're going all in right now. And then you're going to have to suffer for a while because you're not going to have any draft capital. You're not going to have...
It's kind of a half-assed attempt the Bears did with Ryan Pace.
They're just going for win now. It's the opposite of what the Browns did, stocking up all those draft picks.
And now the Bears are trying to reset that. So when you see that year after year, Bears gave up first-round picks for Cutler, first-round picks for Mack, first-round picks for Trubisky, first round pick for Fields. So now we're trying to truly reset it, and it just makes a frustrating thing because like you eventually you run out of capital.
Yeah. And I think the NBA's
The Bears are half-assed are where the Rams will be to a much lesser degree in 2 years.
I think the
hope.
NBA's
Or
less.
the Packers.
I think the Supermax would work better in football than in the NBA. Because in the NBA, certain things can counteract that. Like, players are so marketable themselves.
They make up so much more money.
They can make up the money that they're losing from Supermaxing easier than NFL players can.
Yeah, because their face is on screen constantly.
Like Lamar. He's not going to make that much money in advertisements. Some. But he's not going to be able to. Like, LeBron, at this point, can take whatever NBA contract that he wants.
He can take vet man.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to him anymore. He's got money. He's going to get money. So it's just different. So, like, I think that it would work better in football, and I think it's good because you want teams like the Jaguars, for instance, like if they draft good players that they can actually keep them. Like, the problem becomes, like, the Jaguars had that elite defense for a while.
Yeah, but see, the
And then
Jags
everyone
are the
left.
free agency spenders.
Well, because that's what happens when you're a bad team. You're forced into overpaying people to get them to come there because if they're going to get the same amount of money, they want to go somewhere good. Like Christian Kirk, he would have rather went to Kansas City, but they weren't offering him $21 million a year. Like, there's certain things where, like, you get these teams that are stuck. They have the salary cap room, so they spend it, but they can't get anyone good for it.
It is crazy.
Like, the Jets have been bad for so long because they have all the salary cap and they just have to spend it on someone.
In 3 years, the Jags went from fucking AFC championship to...
That's why I'm applauding the Steelers in that we had all this cap and we're spending it, but we're spending it wisely. We're not just, like, throwing money at people. And we're doing a lot of 2-3 year deals so that, like, we can really pay the people who end up being good and let the others walk. Like, it's a very mature way to spend all of your cap money when you have a lot of cap. The Colts, what they did wasn't wrong. They just didn't use it all. I mean, it's not terrible. It keeps you more flexible for the future when you do have those guys. You can pay them.
Wait, did he just airball a free throw in the worst way
Just
possible?
too short. Yeah, I didn't get enough oomph. But yeah, I don't know. I think that the Supermax is a good way to counteract it. And I think it's good to not only do quarterbacks, 'cause I think that would make a lot of the other positions unhappy if the quarterbacks are the only one who got it. And if you said that you could only have one per team, it's going to always be the quarterback, and that's going to upset people. And I think it's one of those things where, like, the owners can kind of get together that way, and they can kind of be in cahoots and say under the table what they think the max is. That they're actually going to pay someone. Because if they say the max will pay someone is, 60, and we're not going to spend over this $40 million somewhere else. No one's going to do that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, make a rule, or they could just should make a rule. The only teams that can spend more than $40 million at quarterback is the team that drafted the player, or trade it for the player. You could trade for the player to get the rights, like how the Steelers traded for Minka. That would apply because in the NBA that can happen. If you get traded, you can supermax the player you traded for.
Yeah, rights to the player versus the player post contract signing.
And then as a team, you still hold the keys because, like, if a player's like, I want to trade, you could just not trade them and just cap how much money they can make and they can't make. And if the player really just hates you, they can go make less money. But there would still be some instances that would happen, obviously. But I think that you can fix, because the quarterback's system's kind of broken right now to where the best teams, for the most part, are teams where the quarterback's on their rookie deal. Because they're not getting paid like $40 million.
Yeah, this is the first year with Mahomes taking his real salary, right? His
Last
real.
year.
Was it? Okay.
But when was the last time that a team won the Stafford was getting paid, but they're also like doing it weird where they have no future.
No capital, yeah.
Brady never gets paid like everyone else gets paid. He got paid, but not like everyone else gets paid.
Yeah, he was Mr. Avoidable Years. He's the reason for the Taysom Hill contracts.
Mm-hmm. But like the Super Bowl Mahomes won, Brady won all the Super Bowls. I think that's one of the things that's talked about is there were years he was winning the Super Bowl making $8 million.
Utah really quickly made this a 15-point game when it was
Yeah, the Lakers
it was
are
like
terrible.
6.
But yeah, that's the thing people don't talk about. That's part of Brady's greatness was that he'd make like $8 million a year. And the Patriots were smart, and then they didn't just go out and spend $30 million on a receiver or something. They were like, Brady's awesome. We can just give him some trash, give him a good line, and I think they did a great job of having
The
15
dink and dump.
defensive players who were like Bs. They didn't have any like superstars, but when they had injuries, they had solid replacements.
I hate that they got rid of Kyle Van Noy. He's so good.
But I think that's why they were so good, though. Basically, is because every team has injuries, but the Patriots didn't have superstars outside of their corners. They always paid superstar corners.
Well, Akeem Talib, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
But they didn't pay
Gilmore.
Stephon. They cut him though.
No, but they paid him for 2 years, big money.
And then J.C. Jackson, they decided to not pay.
Yep, that's FF Brady. But like for Brady, they rotated through elite corners. They had Ty Law for a while. They had Gilmore. They had
Laurie Malloy at safety, who was just a game wrecker for a while.
Rodney Harrison. The thing is, they paid their secondary, and then their whole defensive line and linebackers were just like solid C's and B players.
Well, they had they had a Vincent Wilfork for fucking
He was
10
good.
years.
He was really good.
Great for 10 years. Just a perfect 3-4 nose.
But I mean, they did a good job. Like even their like 4th and 5th, like their 5th and 6th defensive linemen and linebackers were like C players, which I think really helped them because then when you had injuries, it wasn't like, oh, now we're just trash at this position. And that's the benefit of not having to pay your receivers tons of money. Just being able to roll out Julian Edelman and Chris Hogan and calling it good. Like,
Shit. It's after midnight.
yeah, I got to go home and go to bed. I have work in the morning, obviously, and you have stuff to do.
Yeah, I got to get the kid up. You know what? I'm glad the stream fixed. I'm guessing it was actually a them thing, not a me. So I feel better that it's held steady at 4,700, so I don't have to completely dismantle this PC. Hopefully they get the car fixed next week. We'll be back next week. I'm sure there's going to be more shit going on. Free agency is going to dwindle down a bit, but the draft's in 2 weeks. So who knows? We'll do something. We'll see you guys later. It's the MVZ podcast. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the On Call Podcast. Check us out on Twitter at OnCallPod. Interested in being a sponsor or want to be on the show? Drop us an email at oncallpod@gmail.com. For more info, go to oncallpod.com.